Okay, so today's lesson is adding and subtracting fractions. Yes, oh, our favorite, adding and subtracting. Now, first thing, in order to add or subtract fractions, what do you have to have? Common denominator. And if you have that common denominator, remember the denominator then, it stays the same, right? You leave the denominator alone and you just do 14 take away 3 is? 14 take away 3. 11 plus 1 more. So you get 12 over 15, which you could reduce that, right? Divide by 3.
Yeah.
What does that come up to be? 4/5 maybe?
Yeah.
But the part that we're concerned about is you need to have a common denominator and you need to have then just add and subtract the numerator, leave the denominator alone. Well, what happens when you don't have a common denominator? Now, I know that you can do this. It's easy. But the process that you're going to use for this is the process that I'm going to see on your paper today when we have letters instead of numbers. What's the common denominator here? If you have a 2 and a 4, what's the common denominator going to be? You could use 8. 8 will work. You'll just have to reduce a little bit at the end. You'll still get the right answer though. But what else could you use? 4. You could use 4 or 8. This first one, it already has a 4. So we're not going to do anything with it. This one, today when you do this on your paper, I'm going to make you do this or you're not going to get credit. You're going to have to go off to the side and correctly find the equivalent fraction. If you don't show me on your paper today how you got the equivalent fraction, you're not going to get credit. So off to the side, you have to say, what did I multiply by? Times 2. So on top, that's what you have to multiply. 1 times 2 is 2. So instead of 1/2, the equivalent fraction is 2 over 4. Now you have a common denominator. You leave the denominator alone and you add up the tops, so you get 3/4. This right here is what I am concerned with today. Getting that equivalent fraction. So we're going to start by adding something like, oh yeah, let's do this one. Let's do this one. 6a squared minus 1 over plus 3 over oh boy. Now we got letters and numbers and you can still see it. So off to the side, somewhere off to the side, you're going to have all of these. And if you say, oh, I can do that in my head, I'm going to say no. No, you're going to show me this or you don't get credit. You know why? Oh, because I'm just that mean. You won't be able to do all these in your head. First thing we have to do is figure out the common denominator. Okay, start with the numbers. I have a 2, a 6, and an 8. What's the common denominator with a 2, 6, and 8? Well, first I'm like, okay, 12. Nope, 8 doesn't go into 12. 2 times 8 is 16. 6 doesn't go into 16. It's going to have to be something bigger than that. What'd you say?
24.
Good. 24. 24 seems like it works. Now the letters. And notice, look right here. What we use has to be bigger than the things we started with, or at least equal to one of the things we started with. So for the A, look right here. I have one A, I have two A's, and then I have none. You have to use the most number of times it appears, the biggest. So the biggest of those is an A squared. So I have to use A squared. And then what else? I've got a B, no B's, then I have one, and I have two. So how many B's will my common denominator have to have? 2. So I'll have to have also a B squared. So there's the first thing. First, you have to figure out what the common denominator is going to be. Then you have to figure out the equivalent fractions. You start here and ask yourself, what did I multiply by to get from one side to the other? Well, do the number part. 6 times what is 24? 4. A squared. So I didn't multiply by any A's, no B's, and I need 2, so a B squared. I multiplied the bottom by 4B squared. That means I have to multiply the top by 4B squared. Well, 4B squared times 1 is just 4B squared. Okay, so far? How about here? 2 times what is 24? 12. A times what is A squared? 1A. I have one B, but I need 2 of them. So you have to multiply by another B. So I'm multiplying bottom by 12AB, so I have to multiply top by 12AB. Now the last one. 8 times what is 24? I have no A's, but I need 2 of them. I have 2 B's. That's it, right? 2 B's and I need, so I'm going to multiply by 3A squared. So there they are. The equivalent fractions, this one, 4B squared. Should have made a bigger line. Minus 12AB over, and then plus, what's this one equivalent to? 9A squared over. Like that? What do you do to the denominator? Yeah, you leave it alone, right? 15, 15, 15, my denominator's a 15. So I don't have to do anything to the denominator. It's going to be 24A squared B squared. What about the numerator? Well, I've got 4B squared minus 12AB plus, is there anything you can do to that thing?
No.
There's nothing that's common to all of those. You could take it out if there were. I don't think there's anything else we can do. So right here, right here, right here, looks like that's my answer then. Does that make sense? And most of the work is just getting those equivalent fractions. That's most of the work. Questions so far? How about this one? How about over my memory's shot today. X minus 6 over 3x. You know what I would do first thing? Here's what I would do first thing. I would put parentheses. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what I would do. Parentheses. Well, I'll give you a minute while you're trying to figure out. I've got an x minus 4 over 2x. And I've got an x minus 6 over 3x. Whew. Well, I've got a 2 and a 3. What's the common denominator if you have 2 and 3? 6. Good. And then I have 1x and I have another x. So just x. You only have to have 1. If by chance you put 2, then 1 would cancel out later on. But you only really need to have 1. So you have to ask yourself then, how did I go from 2x to 6x? What did I multiply by from 2x to 6x? 2 times what is 6? 3. So I'm going to multiply just by 3, right? That's all. So I need to multiply the top by 3. But if you would do me a favor, I want you to just leave it like that. And same thing down here. What do you multiply 3x by to get 6x? 2. On top, if you would, I would like you to just leave it as 2 times x minus 6. I'll show you why in a minute. Let's replace this thing is 3x minus 4 over 6x. And this one, 2x minus 6 over 6x. And if I had my way, I would ask you to leave it like this to start with. Minus 2x minus 6. Once you have it written like that, then I would ask you to distribute. Because this is a minus, that negative 2 goes with both of those. And if you try to do it, if you multiply this out way back here, and you're going to forget that this negative goes with both of those terms. I know you will. Do you know how many times I've taught this?
Many.
30. And I found that the more you try to squeeze into one step, the more likely you are to make a mistake. So now that I've got this all mixed up and I've got this in the middle here, and I want to go from here to the rest of it over here, now we can multiply that out. It's all going to be over 6x. Multiply it out. What do you get? 3x minus 12. And then what do you get here? Don't forget it's negative 2 times x. Negative 2x. But here's where everybody makes the mistake. It's negative 2 times negative 6 plus 12. Right. And now that you have it multiplied out, now you could combine some like terms if you choose. Well, you should actually. What do I get with the x's? 3x take away 2x is 1x. What happens to the 12s? Oh boy. So it's just x over 6x?
No, wouldn't it just be 1 over 6?
I don't know. Ask them. She wants to know, would that just be 1/6? Yeah? No? Would it just be 1/6? Say yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You can cancel those. Anything over itself is just 1. So that would be 1/6. Remember, what you can't do is if it was this. If it was adding or subtracting, you would not be able to cancel those x's. But since this is multiplying, you can cancel those. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And you're going to show me how you get your equivalent fractions if you want credit. If you don't want credit, I don't care what you write on your paper, but if you want me to give you credit, you have to show this. Everybody hear that? Look at me. Did everybody hear me say if they want credit, they have to show how they got the equivalent fractions? Put your thumb up if you heard me say, if you want credit, you have to show how you got the equivalent fractions.
Good job.
Where?
Oh my gosh.
I don't want to know.
It is. It is. It is.
I'm not looking under
I
there.
just left it in.
You just looked?
Yeah.
Okay. Should I do some more of these, or do you think you have it? Marshall says just shut up and give us the assignment. Is that what you meant, Marshall? Only in a nicer way. Anybody with questions? Anybody with questions? Anyone? I got odds. Oh, these are going to be easy. Page 237. Oh, look at that pretty blue. Well, I'll tell you just a minute about that. So next week, what day is today? Monday. So the Monday, Thursday people will have their test next Thursday. The Tuesday, Friday people have theirs on Tuesday because we have an early release on Friday and we don't have enough time to get a test in a half an hour. So group A, which that's you, group A, test on Thursday, December 17th. Right? Group B, test on Tuesday, December 15th. That'll be this chapter test, chapter 5, I think. And if you haven't had me before, well, not always, but this is sort of like a chapter review. And I gave you all odds so you can go back. This is not an assignment. This will not be collected for a grade. This is can you give us some problems to review for the test? That's what it is. If you want to review for the test, there it is. If you don't care, well, I guess I don't either. But that's what you can do for the test to help prepare. Question? Should I come there? Okay, let me stop.